wake up to the same old fight, chasing shadows in the night. Promises made, but I let them fade. Caught in the cycle, I'm feeling betrayed. Round and round, I'm losing ground. Trying to break free, but I can't see. These negative patterns are haunting me. Nights turn to days, I'm losing my way. Thought I found peace, but it's led me astray. Chasing the high, but it only brings pain. The more I run, the less I gain.
Hey everybody, hey! You are in the office with Tarika Said Again. And today we have a special guest with us, Travis Palmer. He is the insurance guy, more specifically, your life insurance. Now, for the past few weeks, we've been talking about the various conditions and illnesses that could have a terminal effect on you. So we want to make sure that you have what you need in place as far as your life insurance. So burdens won't be left on your family and they can give you the proper burial. So we're turning it over to Mr. Palmer.
Okay, how you doing today, Ms. Williams?
Yes, hi, how are you?
Good. So, first question I'd like to start out with asking people is, if something happens to you today, what's going to happen to your loved ones? What's going to happen to the people that you care about the most?
Mm-hmm.
How will they be affected?
And that's an important question.
Yeah. So, a lot of times people are not thinking about, their last days.
Right.
Or what's going to happen with their family when they leave. So that's why we need the life insurance. That's why I'm here to talk to you guys about life insurance and getting that plans in place, getting everything that you need. That way you don't leave a burden for your family. So we have generally, I'd like to speak about 3 different types of life insurance.
Okay.
Your term, your whole life, and your IUL, which is Index Universal Life Policies.
Okay.
So we'll start with the more simple one that everybody kind of knows about, with your term policies. It's generally the job offer you a term policy.
Okay.
So most people, when I talk to them about insurance, they say, "Oh, I got insurance through my job. I don't need insurance." But they don't know that they're only the certificate holder on their job and not the policy owner.
Wow.
The job is the policy owner. You're only certificate holder. So if you lose that job or anything happens on that job, you don't have that job anymore, you don't have any insurance.
Now, that's essential.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, a lot of people, they automatically, that's their go-to. I have it on my job, but not thinking about what happens if you lose that job or you simply retire from the job.
Right. So if that happens, you usually on these jobs for a long period of time. So and the older you get, the more the cost of insurance costs.
Mm-hmm.
So if you lose that job and now you're in your late 50s or late 40s, that price of insurance has climbed quite a bit for you.
Exactly.
When you could have locked that in at a cheaper rate earlier. So a term policy, they usually go 10, 15, 20, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they're usually the cheapest policies that you can get, because at the end of those terms, you don't have insurance. And if you don't pass away, you don't have any money coming back to you. So there's no cash value associated with a term policy.
And I know a lot of people have basically got, I guess you would say, caught up with that, or, in thinking that they had life insurance, not knowing term is exactly right.
It's just for the term.
It ends.
Yeah.
And then if your life don't end, you stuck with that bill.
You stuck and you don't have anything at the end. So that's a sad situation to be in. A lot of people just not kind of educated on knowing exactly what they have and how it works.
Mm-hmm.
But in most cases, and people can go and look it up, you can get a convertible term that you can convert into a different type of policy. But that's for someone to go and check that out for themselves.
But that's good to know. He's telling you, if you have a term life policy, you should check with whomever your person is, or look into to see if there's a conversion, if you're able to convert it.
Right.
Okay.
So the next thing that we'll talk about is whole life policies. So whole life policies, just like it sounds, for your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Whole life policies actually have cash back value. So they accumulate cash over time. but they only lock in for the interest rate that you initially signed up with. So you have one static interest rate on that policy, and it compounds interest year over year at whatever rate that you get in with your company. So your whole life policy, you can have that death benefit and you have that cash value component added to it.
Would it be like a fixed interest rate?
It's going to be a fixed interest rate.
Okay.
Whole life doesn't have any living benefits. So living benefits is if you have a terminal, critical, or chronic illness, your policy will pay you up to 80% of your death benefit. Whole life doesn't have that. That's something that we'll talk about later with IUL policies. So that's kind of what the whole life thing is.
Okay.
Any more questions about whole life? Anything?
What I did notice from you going from the term and the whole, there's cash value here.
There's
so
cash
like
value.
it give
We're
you a
gonna
little
get into that.
room.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're going to get into the cash value. So we talk about IUL. So you'll hear a lot of people talk about becoming their own bank, creating generational wealth, or just looking for a retirement vehicle. Unlike your 401k, which we don't know, 401ks, they go up and down. You don't know what you're going to actually have in it. You have to be 59 and a half to get your money out of a 401k, or Social Security. But we don't know what's going to happen with Social Security either. When you get to those final times, when you're ready to take that money out, is it going to actually be there for you? So we have a different vehicle that you can start using. It's called an IUL, which is Index Universal Life Policy. And those policies, they have cashback value on them. So it's not a fixed rate. You have a rate from anywhere from 5 to 11% on those policies.
Is it a cap?
11. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it depends on your company, but that's mostly where typical where it's at. So, and that compounds interest year over year over year. So you have a potential, if it's funded properly, to have quite a bit of money waiting for you when you get there. And another good thing about the IUL policy is, unlike your 401k where it actually loses money, it has a zero floor. So what that means is, if it goes down to zero, you stop there. It never goes negative.
Oh, that's
so you
good
don't
to know.
lose your money. It's all index funds. So if you're invested in like the S&P 500 index fund, but you're not actually in the stock market, you're working on the performance of the stock market.
Okay.
If that makes sense to you. So your money is not actually in the market, so you don't lose money when it goes down. So
That's good to know.
That's really good.
No negatives.
No negative.
Okay.
And they also have living benefits. So that means if you're ever sick, like I was just explaining to you with the whole life, you get that terminal sickness, chronic sickness, or critical illness, you'll be paid up to 80% of your death benefit right out.
Okay.
So then another benefit of it is what we talk about becoming your own bank. You can take money out of that policy, out of your cash value, loan it to yourself, and pay yourself back. If you want to pay yourself, or it's just your money to spend how you want. And guess what? You don't have to be 59 and a half to get it out.
Whoa.
You can start getting your money as soon as you start putting it in. Most policies will take about some months to accumulate some cash value, but within the first year or so, you should be able to start withdrawing if you want to withdraw from your cash value.
So with this one, if you say never pay yourself back, it won't be a penalty, and you could just whatever's left, that would be the payout to those left behind.
Okay, so let's get into that. So the penalty, it's not a penalty, but that money will be withdrawn from your death benefit.
Gotcha.
So if you have $500,000 in your account, you have $700,000 in your death benefit. Once you take that $500,000 out, you never pay that back. It'll come out of your death benefit. Your beneficiaries will receive the $200,000.
That's left.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's tax free. So that money is already it's tax free. You can use it how you want to use it. You don't have to claim it because you're already paying for it. It's already part of your insurance policy. So that's another good thing about it.
Okay, so then this one seemed like it's more an investment.
It can be an investment tool if you
Okay.
want to use it. So it's two different ways that you can set up an IUL policy. If you want to set it up where you're focused more on the cash value, you can do that. Or if you want to set it up where you focus more on your death benefit, you can do that.
Okay.
So it's usually like a 70-30 ratio. 70% will go towards the death benefit if you want to focus on your death benefit. 70% of your premium, which is your monthly payment, or 70% will go to your cash value if you want to focus on cash value and having that savings, having that retirement plan in place or whatever you might want to do. You know, most of us getting into that age of, 40, 50, 60 years old, and these jobs don't have pension anymore. So what's the plan?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? What's going to be your next step? How are you going to take care of what you need to take care of for your family and everybody else? And at some point you want to sit down, right? You don't want to work your whole life. So
No, I want to enjoy it.
What kind of plan do you have in place?
Right.
This is something that you can start investing in. This is something that you can put your money into and make sure that you have something for yourself when you get into that latter age of your life.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, it's been taken advantage of by a lot of different cultures. So our culture needs to get more into it and start learning more about what it is. We don't need to keep doing where we do the fish fries and the car washes and the GoFundMe's when we're having problems. No, already have something in place. Already have something set up where you can start generating.
And that's key. That's key that you mentioned that, not to make light of anyone's situation, but simply just pointing it out of some of those addictive patterns.
Yeah.
Like literally every session, addictive patterns, like I said, they cover. Yeah, exactly. So that's one thing we need to get out of the habit of, like you say, those fish fries, trying to raise money and actually sitting down, having those conversations with the family members, putting aside some money so that we can pay these policies.
Right.
And for those that have younger children, start now.
Younger children. Okay. We also have children's policies.
Okay.
Children whole life policies.
Okay.
And you start putting that cash value the same way. It has cash value accumulated with it. With your child, if you get locked in, they have that same rate for the entire life. The rate never changes. So, if they start having that, putting up cash early on in life, when they get in their latter years, they will be set. So
yeah, and to just piggyback or confirm that, just a personal testimony, when my child was younger, infant, that's what I did.
Okay.
Put in place insurance, and literally her life insurance is the amount for the whole year is the amount it is for me quarterly.
Right.
So
the younger you are,
exactly,
the better it is. Get in early, put your stuff in place. That way you will be, set. The later you wait, the more it's going to cost you. You're still being, if you fund it properly, you're still being in good hands. But it's just better to get in. The earlier you get in, the better you'll be.
Y'all heard that. If you have younger children, go ahead and get them set up now with those policies, those children policies. And if you don't have one for yourself, just try to put a plan in place. Make a sacrifice. If it's not buying a pair of shoes for this month, not going out to eat for this month, make that sacrifice.
Well,
so in the long run.
Let me say this as well.
Okay.
You pick your own price.
Okay.
You pick your own price. However much policy, however much death benefit, however much cash value, you tell me what you want to spend money, what's comfortable with you, and I will find you something that works in your budget. So if it's just you sacrificing a pair of shoes or even a pack of bread, we will find you something that you can use.
So has there ever been a client that, due to multiple illnesses, to where it was really high or maybe rejected?
Yeah, so get you a good agent. That's my advice to you. Get you a good agent that's associated with multiple companies.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm licensed in all 50 states, and I work with the majority of all the top companies, for insurance companies. So get you someone that can shop you around and find you what you need. Just because one company says no doesn't mean the next company will. So get you somebody that can find you a policy, because I've had people come to me with, diabetes, high blood pressure, even cancer, and we've been able to find them something. So if you get something and you need something, we can definitely find it for you. Yeah.
So, in other words, you're telling them, don't accept no.
You can get it. You can get it. I mean, it may come at a higher cost, but you can definitely get something to make sure that you are secure and that you're taken care of. So.
All right. So you have talked to us and given us information on term policies, whole life policies, as well as IULs.
Yes.
And we've said how term is exactly what it is. There's expiration on that. We've said whole life. There is cash value.
Yeah, so So, like you were saying, term is what it is. It's for a particular amount of time. It ends at a term, at the end date. Terms usually go from anywhere from 10 to 30 years. You can get a term policy. Whole life policies, they are just what they are. They are for your whole life. Your premium doesn't change. You keep the same premium, which you have the same payment month over month. There are options where you can pay in for X amount of years and don't pay anything else. There are different living benefits that you can get with term policies. You don't get living benefits with term; you get it with IUL. So that's one of the things that you do. I mean, with whole life, that's one of the things that we have. You don't get living benefits with whole life, but you do get cash value with your whole life. So you can have that cash value with your whole, and then with your IUL policies, you have the cash value that you're working on building, or your death benefit. So you're able to have the best of both worlds with your IUL policy. Okay. And then you can focus on, either building the cash or focus on the death benefit. So that's kind of a summation of the three policies that we mostly deal with that are most common. And if anybody wants to find out more about the policies, you can always reach me at tpalmer.elevated@gmail.com.
Say it again.
tpalmer.elevated@gmail.com. Okay. You can always reach me there. I will sit down and go over an illustration on what a policy breakdown would look like for the people. So
and give them a comparison, a younger person versus an older person, so they can see. Some of us, we are visual people.
Right. So we can go through an illustration where either you're putting in for a 20-year-old or putting in for a 50-year-old. You can just see the difference with the premium amounts and the coverages that you'll be able to get.
Okay. Right. So you all, let's break these generational curses or these negative addictive patterns and take on some positive. Let's make some changes. If your parents didn't do it, let's do the opposite. If they did do it, we want to continue to do it. So thank you for joining in for this session of Tarka Say It Again with our insurance guy, Travis Palmer.
Thank you for having me.
Well, addictivepatterns.com. Check us out. We're on YouTube and Spotify. And don't forget, like and subscribe. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody. Everybody.
Everybody.
Okay, so we're back. What I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and work out some examples just to give you a general idea of what we have. So in this example, my client name is Addictive Patterns, a 20-year-old female. She has a $100 monthly premium. Her initial death benefit is $46,000. So let's take a look at also what I spoke to you guys about the riders that's available to you, the critical, chronic, or terminal illness riders. So let's go and take a look at the illustration. Let's look at the numbers. Kind of walk you through the numbers of what this looks like for a 20-year-old versus a 50-year-old. Just trying to encourage people to get in a little bit sooner than later. So we go down in the illustration halfway down to around page 29 or so. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay. So in this example, we are first year. We started at 20, so age 21. They're paying out $100 a month. For the year, that's $1,200. So we have three different columns. So we give you the worst case scenario, the middle scenario, and then the best case scenario, so to speak. So here is what they call your guaranteed column. And if you look at the guaranteed, this is saying that over time, your interest rate is always sitting at zero. So we know that that's not true because the stock market, the S&P 500 and different index funds are never at zero. They are always, historically stay between somewhere around the 5% rate. They go up and down, but we'll just say they stay between the 5 and 8% rates. So in this illustration, this is the guaranteed. So this is if you're at zero and you're never getting any interest on your money. So whatever you're putting in. So the first year, you have no cash value. Second year, you have $800 in that account. And this is increasing. So every year, your money is increasing, as you see, and your death benefit is increasing, as you can see here in this column. So if we go down to, let's say, what's a good age, Miss Williams, that we will say that we want to take our money out or look at our money?
Take it out at 50.
Okay, so at a 20-year-old, if we go into age 50, so that means that they paid in for 30 years. They've paid in a total of $36,000 over that time. And they have in that account, worst case scenario, this would be $25,000, death benefit is $71. But this is the column over here that I want you to really pay attention to. This is more likely what you'll be looking at. So in this scenario, at the 30-year mark, but a client addicted patterns has $81,000 in cash value, and the death benefit is $154,000. So if we were going back to what we said earlier, if you want to borrow that money or take that money out, and this is a conservative amount that we're talking about, but if you want to take that money out, the 81,000, the remainder of that 51, if you never paid that back, the remainder of that 154,000 minus the 81 will be your death benefit, what goes to your family. All right. So that's just one example of an illustration for a 20-year-old. So we also want to look at an illustration for a 50-year-old. Let me pull that up. So in that, we got say it again.
Yes,
So
say
now
it
we're looking
again.
at another female. Let me say it again. She is 50 years old. So what you automatically notice is her death benefit is a lot smaller. I think the last one was started out with 75,000 as the death benefit. This is 25,000 because we have a 30-year age gap there. So the older you are, the less you're going to start with, and the more expensive it's going to be. But in this case, we kept both of them at $100. That's where you can see the difference. So this is $100 a month. So let's write it down and look at the money. So I've already explained to you the difference in the three columns, and you know what your surrender value is, and the guaranteed column versus the non-guaranteed columns. So in this scenario, you start at, you're 51 years old. So let's just go straight over here to the non-guaranteed, because this is saying right here, this column, non-guaranteed illustration is saying that this is an interest rate of 5.95%. And if you look up the S&P 500 index funds and look at the different interest rates that's come year over year, you'll see that that's a really good number to base off of. So within your first year, you already start accumulating some cash value, small amount, but this is what you're putting in. You put $146 in your first year. Second year, you have $1,200 in that account. You start out with $25,000. So let's just go all the way down, and let's say 60 years old, which is 10 years later. You put in $12,000, and you have $12,000 in your account. $12,481, and you have a death benefit of $37. So it's not a lot of money. So the earlier you get in, the better it will be for you. And if you fund this properly, these numbers can grow dramatically. You know, it just depends on what you want to put into it. You know, if you're putting a substantial amount, like you're really serious about being your own bank, or you're really serious about financing your future as far as retirement goes, or you know, just creating some generational wealth. You want to leave some money for your family. Some real money where they can start changing some generations. Then if you put the proper amount of money into one of these plans, then you'll see the benefit of it. So that's just an example.